Hello, children, and welcome to today's session. Children, in this world of science, we learn many things every day. Today, we are actually going to understand how this whole world moves. Why do I say that? Imagine that for a day, there is no means of transport around you. There is no electricity in your house. What will happen to our life? Our life will practically come to a standstill because all these things around us help us to do all the activities that we do. Now, today in this lesson, we are going to learn how these things move. So, all the things that are working around us are using energy in some form or the other. And where does this energy come from? This energy comes from a basic source. Like we say that sun is the source of heat and light for earth. There are other sources also that provide us the energy to do the different kind of work that we do. Children, today we are going to focus in chapter number 5 on coal and petroleum. We are going to talk about fuels. These fuels, coal and petroleum, are actually the ones that run most of the means of transport and the electrical energy in our house. So, what is a fuel? A fuel is any substance that is burnt to produce heat energy. Now, this fuel actually contains potential energy which is bound in chemical bonds inside the fuels. And for this reason, when the fuel is burnt, these bonds break and they release heat energy. We use different kinds of fuels in our everyday environment. Let's list a few. So, we know that coal and petroleum are one. Then we commonly use diesel in our buses, trucks, etc. We also use LPG in our kitchen. Some use CNG in their vehicles. So all these are fuels. Now if you were to decide which of these fuels is better, what will you do? There are certain characteristics of a fuel that define it as good or bad. What are these characteristics? Let us take a look. The first characteristic is ignition temperature. So, for example, if I want to stand in the kitchen and cook food, now I just have to switch on the gas, click the gas lighter, and the gas lights up. That means the time taken for this fuel to catch fire is very, very low. What is this called? Ignition temperature. The minimum temperature at which a substance catches fire and starts burning is known as its ignition temperature. Children, you may have lit a bonfire at some point in time or another. How much time does the wood take to catch fire? It is a lot of time. And in case the wood is damp, then it will take much more time. So, a fuel which has got a very low ignition temperature is a good fuel. What are the example of such fuels? It is petrol, alcohol, and the LPG cylinders which we use at home. The next important characteristic of a good fuel is its calorific value. What do you mean by calorific value? So, we said that all fuels contain potential energy in the form of bonds between their molecules. When you heat these fuels, these bonds break and the energy is released. That means when a fuel is burnt, it should convert into energy. Now, how much of the fuel converts into energy is its calorific value? Let us read the definition now. Heat liberated in joules on complete burning of 1 gram of fuel is expressed as its calorific value. So, if 1 gram of fuel completely burns and gives us 1 joule of energy, then it is a good fuel. In your book, there is a list of fuels with their calorific value. Let's quickly go through it. So, as we can see here, the calorific value of some common fuels: wood, coal, charcoal, biogas, kerosene and petrol, butane, methane and hydrogen gas. So, the energy they release per gram in kilojoules is the highest for hydrogen gas and it is the lowest for wood. It is 17 to 22 kilojoules per gram. So, which of these would be the best fuel? Of course, hydrogen gas, which gives 150 kilojoules of energy when it is burnt. The next criteria of a good fuel is availability. Children, nowadays CNG pumps are very closely available for all of us. Whenever we want, we can go to a CNG pump and get our cars filled. Because of this, the number of CNG vehicles on road is also increasing. There was a time when only a few pumps in a city would provide CNG fuel. So at that time, the number of vehicles running on CNG on the road was very low. What does this tell us? This tells us that when the availability of CNG increased, it was only then that the number of vehicles of CNG increased on the road. So everybody would like to use a fuel that is easily available, for which you do not have to go kilometers away from your house to get the fuel. But children, in today's modern advanced world, the means of transport have improved so much that if petroleum and natural gas are drilled in Assam or coal is found in the mines of Jharkhand, it can easily be transported from one place to another. So that makes availability of fuels very easy. In fact, the gas pipes reaching our houses is another example of how conveniently fuels are available nowadays. Combustibility is another characteristic of a good fuel. What is combustibility? The rate of combustion should be balanced and moderate. What does this mean? So when I switch on my gas, I have the power in my hand to increase the flame or reduce the flame. But all the other devices may not be equipped by this increasing and decreasing valve where we can control the amount of flame that we need. So in such cases, when you are putting a fuel on fire, it should not immediately burn up. It should burn slowly, moderately and consistently. This is combustibility. So another important thing here is that the fuel should not leave any poisonous residue once it is burnt. The next characteristics, children, is storage and transportation. So whether we talk about petrol or we talk about coal, we understand that a huge petrol pump is required to store the amount of petrol. The transportation of petrol is also difficult. They need huge tankers. Similarly with coal, coal needs a lot of space to store. So these are the fuels that you will not directly use in your house. What will you use? You will use LPG cylinders. Reason being, LPG cylinders occupy very little space and they're also easy to transport even up to the 5th floor. The next characteristics is pollution. We all understand that pollution is a major evil nowadays. It is affecting our lifestyle in a big way. There are times when we are told to stay indoors because the air quality outside is very poor. So we know that a fuel will burn in order to give energy. And we just learnt on the previous page that the fuel should not leave any poisonous residue. This was after the fuel is burnt. But here we also have to consider that while the fuel is burning, is it giving out any harmful gases and causing pollution? Coal and petroleum cause a lot of pollution. They also give out a lot of poisonous gases and oxides, and these can lead to severe diseases in human beings as well as in animals. So children, coal and petroleum, although they provide a major chunk of energy to the entire earth, they are very, very polluting. The next characteristic that we are going to learn are exhaustible resources and inexhaustible resources. On the basis of availability and lasting of resources, they can be divided into two categories. Let us understand this through a table made in your book. Types of resources depending on how long the resource will be available for us to use. So there are exhaustible resources and then there are inexhaustible resources. Fossil fuels, that is coal, petroleum and natural gas, are exhaustible resources. If we do not use these exhaustible resources wisely, then these will get over and we will be left with nothing, because these require millions of years to form. Coming next to inexhaustible resources. Solar energy, wind energy, water energy, tidal energy and geothermal energy are the forms of resources that are going to be there always. That is why, children, these are known as alternate sources of energy, and the government is trying its best to shift from exhaustible to inexhaustible resources. These resources are also non-polluting. Hence the emphasis on using these resources. We have learned the characteristics of good fuel. Now let us understand the types of fuel. Fuels can be classified into two types depending on their physical state as well as their occurrence. What do you mean by physical state? Physical state means whether the fuel is in solid state like charcoal, paraffin, wax, etc., or the fuel is in liquid state like petrol, diesel, alcohol, etc., or the fuel is in gaseous state like LPG, natural gas, etc. And based on occurrence, whether the fuel is a natural fuel or is it a processed fuel. So for example, if I am using coal, then coal is used in the form that it was obtained from nature. So that becomes natural fuel. And processed fuel means if I am using diesel or kerosene. How is diesel and kerosene obtained? They are obtained from processing petroleum that is obtained from nature. So diesel and kerosene will become processed fuels. Now children, let us understand how these fuels are formed in nature. So millions and millions of years ago, when plants and animals died, they were buried under the earth. At that time, the earth soil was full of microorganisms, marine organisms, trees, ferns and other plants. All these were buried under the soil and millions of years added more soil on top of these layers. Because of this, the heat and the pressure on the lower layers increased tremendously, and they converted into a spongy layer which was known as peat. Over another million of years, these layers converted into sedimentary rock, and within this layer lie our fuels, coal and petroleum. Coal is formed from ferns, plants and trees. Then comes oil. Oil is formed from zooplanktons and algae, and oil is mainly found under the surface of the ocean. Then there is also a third fuel called natural gas. Natural gas is usually formed by a lot of heat and pressure, which causes further decomposition of the organic matter. Children, natural gas is most often obtained near petroleum sources. Now let us understand these fuels one by one. Coming to coal. We all know that coal is black in color, and we also know that coal is made of remains of dead plants buried under the earth millions of years ago. Now coal contains carbon as a major component, but there is also hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and sulfur present in coal. But a coal is decided to be a good type of coal or a bad type of coal depending on the carbon content in it. Let us understand how. So the first type of coal is called peat. Now this peat is soft, broken and spongy. It contains about 30 to 40% carbon content. When you talk about lignite, lignite is known as soft coal because it has 50% carbon in it. Bituminous coal is called domestic coal because this is the coal which is used at homes for fuel in case of very small villages and towns near forests. Bituminous contains about 60% carbon. The next type of coal is called anthracite and it contains about 96% of carbon, and that is why it is known as hard coal, and it is also considered as the best variety of coal. Children, coal, although a very polluting fossil fuel, finds a variety of uses in our day-to-day lives. It is used in thermal power plants to generate electricity. It is used as an industrial fuel. A large number of families in rural areas still use it as a domestic fuel. Coal is majorly found in Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh, and because of its value, coal is also called black diamond. Children, this coal, when distilled, it gives us many other useful products. Let us understand what these products are. Useful products like coke, coal tar and coal gas are obtained by strongly heating coal in a closed retort in absence of air. This process is called the destructive distillation of coal. Coke is the purest form of coal. It contains 98% of carbon. It is tough, purest and black substance. It is used for extraction of metals from their ores. Coal tar is a thick black liquid with an unpleasant smell. It contains more than 200 different carbon compounds. The products obtained from coal tar are plastics, explosives, etc. Coal gas is produced during the processing of coal to get coke. It is an excellent fuel as it produces heat on burning. It is used as a fuel in industries that are located near the coal processing plants. So children, we have learnt about the different kind of products that we get out of destructive distillation of coal. Now let's move on to an activity. So you can conduct destructive distillation of coal inside your laboratory also. So following the steps given here, you can easily do this with the help of your teacher and under the supervision of the lab assistant. So do go ahead and do this activity. Let us now move on to petroleum. Petroleum can be broken down into two words. The first word is petra, which means rock, and the second word is oleum, which means oil. So, petroleum or the oil from the rock is obtained from the sedimentary rock under the ocean bed. Petroleum is a mixture of many hydrocarbons. Now, these hydrocarbons are obtained by drilling into the earth's surface, as we can see. This drill goes down across the bed of rocks deep into the surface of the earth, and from there the petroleum is mined outside. So we learned that coal is called the black diamond and petroleum is called black gold. Not only because of its uses but also because of the cost of petroleum. Petroleum is usually imported in India from the Arab countries, the Saudi Arabian countries. It is also found in oil wells in Assam, Gujarat, Bombay and in the deltas of Godavari and Kaveri. Children, just like coal, petroleum is also made up of many different useful substances. But all these different substances have got a different boiling point. In order to remove these from petroleum, fractional distillation is conducted. And all these fractions, all these hydrocarbons are taken out. And this entire process is termed as refining. As we can see in this picture here, in fractional distillation of petroleum, different products are obtained. So we can see from the bottom, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax and asphalt, they are extracted at 400 degrees centigrade. Industrial fuel oil is extracted at 370 degrees centigrade, diesel at 300 degrees centigrade, kerosene at 200 degrees centigrade, gasoline at 15 degrees centigrade, and the first to come out of petroleum is petroleum gas at 20 degrees centigrade. Let us understand the different uses of these components. The various constituents of petroleum are useful to man. Liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, is used as a fuel for homes and industries. Petrol is used as a fuel in cars and scooters. Kerosene is used as fuel in stoves to cook food. Diesel is used as a fuel in heavy vehicles like trucks and buses. Lubricating oil is used to lubricate machinery. Paraffin wax is used to make paper, Vaseline, candles. Bitumen is used for making road surfaces and paints. Petroleum is also called black gold due to its commercial importance. So children, these were the different kinds of substances that are separated from petroleum and their uses. Let us understand about natural gas also. So like coal and petroleum, natural gas is also a very important fuel. And where is it found? It is found in the layers of impervious rocks over petroleum deposits or sometimes alone. What is a constituent of natural gas? It contains 95% methane and the remaining 5% is a mixture of ethane and propane. Because this gas is stored under high pressure, it is known as compressed natural gas or CNG, and it is found in Tripura, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and in the Krishna Godavari Delta. The advantages of natural gas is that most importantly, it is a clean fuel. It does not leave any residue and it also does not give out any harmful gases. The storage and transport is very easy. It is cheaper than petrol and has a high calorific value. All the qualities that we discussed about a good fuel. The uses: natural gas is widely used in public transport in case of buses, auto rickshaws and trucks. It is also used as an industrial fuel because it is non-polluting and for power generation. And it is also a starting point of manufacture of many chemicals and fertilizers. Now children, we have understood that these products that we are using as fuel in our everyday life take millions of years to form. Why is this leading to an energy crisis now? Of course, because we are depending too much on them. We know that these are exhaustible resources. Still, we are not ready to shift to inexhaustible resources, which is causing a problem here. Another increasing problem is the increasing consumption of these fuels. As the population is increasing worldwide, the amount of energy required by people is also increasing. And we are depending totally on fossil fuels, which is leading to an energy crisis. There is also an uneven distribution of these fuels. We all know that Arabian countries are very rich in petroleum, whereas the other countries are not. This sometimes monopolizes the fuel authority of some countries. Because of this, there is energy crisis in countries who cannot pay a very, very heavy price. Wastage. Many a times we have learned that we have to save energy at home. But do we really do it? Do we really switch off the tube light as we move out of the room? No, we do not. We waste electricity. We leave our appliances on standby mode. We do not remember to switch off the microwave oven from the back. All these things together are leading to wastage of energy and hence the energy crisis. It is very important for all of us to understand that conservation of resources is the only way by which we can continue to use these resources. Children, switch off electrical appliances which are not in use. Reduce the flame while cooking once the water starts boiling. Use air conditioners, air coolers, room heaters, geysers, etc. only when needed. People should use public transport instead of private transport. Drive at a constant speed for better mileage and less pollution. Use CFLs and tube lights which consume less electricity. Food should be cooked in pressure cooker and items such as pulses should be soaked before cooking. So here in this chapter, children, we have learnt about two important fossil fuels, which are coal and petroleum. We have learned how these fuels are extracted and how they are divided and used into various fractions. We've also learned why the entire world is facing energy crisis now and how we can conserve natural resources and slow down this energy crisis. So children, I hope you have understood the chapter very well. Time for you to attempt the questions at the back. Thank you.